This is the Brighter Web Podcast, insights on growing a small business using the latest technology and marketing best practices. Welcome.
Hey, good to be here, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mickey. Excited
Awesome.
to talk about some more magic.
Oh, we love magic, yes.
What are we talking about on this episode of the podcast?
So we've talked before about the magic email. Today is about the magic checkbox in WordPress. And this is less magical and more devastating, but it's something I think is worth talking about for a few minutes.
Yeah, It's always interesting when we call something magical, and we don't do that lightly because it can certainly be cheesy and catchy to try to just say that. But I mean, I really do think there is something mystical and magical about this WordPress checkbox. So why don't we just start by explaining that? What is the magic checkbox? What are we referring to when we say that when it comes to WordPress?
Yeah, so the magic checkbox is just a single setting buried deep inside of WordPress that can literally make or break your website, and it's very easy to miss. People leave it checked far more often than I would expect. And basically it's a checkbox that says, hey Google, hey Bing, hey search engines, ignore my site, don't list us anymore. If you want to check for yourself in WordPress under settings and reading, there's a little checkbox and it says, discourage search engines from indexing this site. And if it's checked, any reputable search engine like the ones I mentioned will not index your site. And so indexing, just for a little bit about that, Google and search engines don't search the internet. They make a copy of the internet on their servers essentially through crawling and indexing. So they'll send their little bots to your site and crawl through and they make a copy of your site on the server, and that's called indexing. You want to be indexed on Google's server, and this checkbox says don't index us. And so if Google respects that and doesn't index you when someone runs a search, your site's not there to be found because you've explicitly told Google not to. So they respect it, but it's, clearly devastating. If your site literally doesn't exist in Google, that's not a good thing.
So in other words, if we're thinking in terms of magic, this is really the invisibility cloak for your website. This makes it essentially disappear.
Correct, yeah. People can still pull up the site, they can type it in, but if you search for their name in Google, it just won't come up. And we notice this pretty quickly. It's funny how easy we can see that magic checkbox. We'll be talking to someone and they'll say, yeah, pull up my site, and I'll just Google their name, and I'll see their Twitter handle and their Facebook group, but their website just doesn't show up. And at that point, I'm 80% sure that's what it is. And then you can go to the site and look pretty quickly in the code. There's a thing called no index. It's just all one word, NOINDEX. And if that's in the code somewhere, that's the site's way, the checkbox's way of telling Google, like, no, don't index this site. And again, they respect that.
So, this should be pretty obvious, but why shouldn't most sites have that magic checkbox checked? Why should most people want to be discoverable on search engines?
Yeah, I think that's, like you said, pretty self-explanatory. We almost all of us want to be found in search engines. And just having that, even if you don't do other, quote, SEO work and keyword research and stuff, just at least showing up in Google is a good first step. And I've seen the opposite, where people do keyword research and stuff, then accidentally leave this checkbox checked, and that makes all of your work invalidated.
So, okay, I've discovered this. I go check my settings right now on WordPress and see, oh my gosh, I've had the checkbox checked. Okay, I immediately uncheck it. I save my settings. What happens now? Am I, all of a sudden people start flooding into my site, or what should I expect from unchecking the magic checkbox?
Depends on the size of your site and how much it was indexed before, but very little for at least a couple days, if not a few weeks or months. Because eventually Google will come back around, just kind of check on your site and say, oh, I can index it now. So they'll add a couple pages and later add a couple more. And over the course of weeks or months, you'll kind of recover. You should essentially fully recover. It's just going to take quite a while, and who knows how long you left it checked too, and it can have some repercussions. But yeah, unchecking is basically all you can do, and then Google will come around soon and slowly get you back into their systems, and Bing and all the other ones as well.
So I think maybe the question that I'm certainly asking, that the listener may be asking as well, is, well, if this is so devastating, if most people don't want this to be checked, why in the world does WordPress even have this in the first place? What is the point of the magic checkbox?
Yeah, so the point is really for development. If you have a live site right now, if we have our GreenMellen media site and we're building a new one, we want it where we can all look at it and check it out and build it out. But we don't want Google to see both sites, because that'll confuse Google seeing the old site and the new site, and you don't want to confuse Google. Clarity is kind of the king for SEO. Just being very clear about where your site is, what the pages are, what's on them, and if Google sees two separate GreenMellen sites, one under construction, a live one, it could get them confused. So you put the checkbox on the development site. So anytime you're building a site, have that checkbox checked, because you don't want Google in there indexing these temporary pages and people searching for your company, seeing lorem ipsum and all that. So you check that box, and the problem is people have that checked in development and they push the site live and forget to go in and uncheck it. So it's easy to miss, but again, it's a very important thing to make sure when you go live to make sure that checkbox is not checked.
Are there any other reasons why you would want to no index your site and kind of have it hidden beyond just development?
That's generally about it. It could be if you have very strong opinions that people might disagree with. You want to kind of hide from your political beliefs or whatever. But generally, even those people want to be seen and found on Google for whatever it is. So outside development, there's not really many good reasons I can think of to leave that checked.
Sure. Okay. So we obviously care about SEO. This is a huge implication on SEO. As we start getting Google to index our site and building up our reputability, what are some other ways to improve SEO and discoverability of our website beyond just the Magic Checkbox?
And as you know, that's a whole other episode or 10 to go through all the things there. But at the end of the day, it's really two things, I think. It's providing excellent, unique content, writing great content that Google will appreciate, users will appreciate, that's unique to your site, and then just don't screw it up on things like this. If you have your site that somehow it clocks in at 100 megabytes load the page because the images and videos, like that's a screw up. This checkbox is screw up. Just don't mess it up. Just write good content. Don't overthink it. Don't leave the checkbox checked. And again, lots of nuances beyond that. But if you're writing good content and you make sure Google can see it, that's a heck of a start you probably have over everyone else.
Okay, awesome. Well, this was another very magical episode. Thanks for
go.
unpacking that. Again, a very simple idea, but a very crucial one if you want to actually be ranked on Google and other search engines.
Yep. So if you hear someone saying, like, my site's just not coming up on Google at all, like I worked with my daughter's dance studio a few years ago. They had a couple different people they reached out to because they said, we just can't get indexed at all. We keep doing keywords. And I felt kind of bad. I'm like, you guys are going to hate me. But sit down and just click, and it solved it instantly. It's something that struggled with for months. So if you ever see, like, we're literally invisible on Google, that's the first place I would look.
Okay. So if you have been, thank you for listening to this magical episode of the Brighter Web Podcast, brought to you by GreenMellen, a digital marketing agency. To help your business keep up with the latest digital marketing trends, check us out at greenmellen.com, and you can also find show notes and more episodes at brighterweb.com.